We have a special guest here, everybody. His name is Cantonese Cat.
Yeah, Mel, everyone. Thanks for
The anticipation is
Tracker.
there, man. It's and the Tesla tracker and the great Matsby. That's me. Yeah.
And I'm back too.
Or the mediocre Matsby, as Kat was saying earlier today.
the okay Matsby. Yeah.
The okay Matsby. Yeah.
No, I think he's great.
I gotta humble myself. Gotta humble myself. You know.
You gotta humble yourself. You know, I think it's otherwise bad things come to you. You know, that's
That is true.
It is true. It's sad. I think that the tough part is whenever we do videos, we talk about it, but not everybody watches these shows. I mean, we just keep on going on for like an hour or two. Not everybody watches this. So if we make posts, it's just going to sound a lot more absolutism. You know, it's tough to like put too many scenarios and things like that on there. But anyway, it's good to be back. Thank you for having me, and I promise that this appearance is not a ploy to try to drive popularity. Like it's really not. It's really not my intention. I really just needed to the break.
You are the equivalent of the McRib, you know. Yeah. We're so glad to have the McRib back, and we're so glad to have the McCat back. So there we go.
No,
wasn't there like a thing that said every time the McRib came back, the Bitcoin went up?
Oh yeah. So now that the McCat is back, Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. This is great.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a step back from the culty stuff here. So hopefully those things will actually pump. And I'm not around that much anymore. So we'll see.
Some of these comments are hilarious. Oh, you're the McCat. The McCat from SCHD.
Yeah, Elon's back. You know, I'm secretly...
Elon, is that you, Elon? Yes, we became with Elon since Kat left. So everybody, this is Elon Musk.
Yeah, I'm the Asian Elon, whatever that means.
No, there's already a Chinese Elon, like Elon Ma, right?
That guy who looks just like Elon, but he's like from China.
Yeah.
I need to look him up. Interesting.
Is hello everybody, I'm Elon Ma.
Oh, yeah. You did not just do that.
Hey, I'm just saying how he talks, man. That's it. I'm just, just like I do the rat them there. You know.
You better speak some Chinese to redeem yourself.
Okay, okay, yeah.
你当然可以了. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of The Triumvirate, and yeah, I think Matt's already got his S&P 500 chart here pulled up, so let's hear what you guys have to say.
So, what we're all wondering, is this the real deal, McNeil? And I don't know, right? That's the question that we're all asking ourselves. And right now, it feels like things are just retracing, reverting back to the mean here. And we still have some more room to go, right? The conversion on the base is up at 581. And when you look at the daily chart for the SPY, something magical happened. It actually closed 2 days in a row above the 200-day moving average, and it even back tested it today. So that's maybe giving even more confirmation that perhaps there is still more momentum to the upside into the 580s. And the 581.45 is that baseline on the daily chart. And when we go to the weekly chart again, we can see that the 581.45 is also the conversion and the baseline on the weekly chart. So I think we have a destination in mind before we get any kind of like sad or scary news, right? We at least probably will go back to the 580s to determine if things really want to continue higher or retrace again before going higher. So I don't know yet, because it's just going back to where price should go to determine if it really wants to break above or get rejected. So we're in a wait and see period as well. The closer it gets there, perhaps I'll be a little bit more cautious. But right now, it's just doing what it should be doing, and that's retracing back to where price has been for a while, for the past months before. And when we go to the QQQ, same situation where price kind of gapped up and went above the 50-week moving average, opened the new weekly candle above it, and basically wicked below, and now it's continuing its journey higher And we have that conversion on the baseline, which is also a katana. And what do you make of that, Cat? Both the SPY and the QQQ have a weekly katana and prices below it.
I think what I make of it is the last 8 or last 9 candles were extremely volatile, and it engulfed the entire last 26 candles. That's all it really means. So if it's to the upside, and in general, these markets generally they like to go up over time.
Yeah.
So if it's above that, if it's a bullish katana, then I think it basically just signifies some pretty impulsive things going to happen to the upside. If it's down, if it's underneath of it after like a huge correction that we just had, like 14-15% for QQQ, which is actually not unusual for the market to have these like 10-15% pullback. It can have a katana, and it can serve as resistance, and it's right at a very important level right there, 1.618. So there is a risk if we don't break through that some badness could come. So you better hope that there's momentum to break through it.
Yeah. And going back to QQQ on the daily chart, it did not get above the 200-day just yet, but tomorrow is a new day. And if the SPY did it, then the QQQ can do it as well. And also the daily baseline is at the same price, the 503.62, near that 1.618 as well. So there's a lot of confluence back in the 500 zone to see if price can actually break above that. And do we think it's going to happen? I don't know yet, right? This is something that we haven't really experienced in a while, to be this far down, to get all the lower support and heading back up. So this could be a pretty aggressive move back to all this 500 level, but will it break free? That is something that we'll have to wait and see. So 503, 504, that is probably the shorter term target for the QQQ. And we'll have to just see what happens after price gets there, if it really wants to break above or not. And the IWM is a whole nother level, whole nother story, how it's deep inside the weekly cloud here. And the 50-week is way up here at 216 still. So it's really far away from that. And also the conversion is at 213. And we have the 618 there at 212. So I think price can still gravitate higher and higher and higher, but we'll see what happens when it gets back to that area. But I think what we're looking at mostly when we look at the monthly charts of all this, like monthly support, the 50-month and the monthly baseline, it held perfectly, right? And then when we go back to the QQQ on the monthly chart, we can see the conversion line is holding beautifully still, right? And that's at 482. And then the SPY, the conversion line is right there at 561.75, and it's also holding beautifully as well. So when we look at a month-to-month basis, there really is no loss of high time frame momentum yet. So the potential to break free and break above those weekly resistance is very, very possible and likely because of this no loss of high time frame momentum.
Yeah, this is why I don't really take that weekly bearish katana that badly. I think it's if you look at the high time frame, it still looks pretty good. So
yeah. So it's hard to say which way things are going to go, but I still think there's still more room to the upside for the shorter term. But when we get to those resistance levels on the weekly chart, it probably won't break free the first time, and there could be another shakeout to the downside before it really wants to break those levels. So that's why it's always best to remain cautious. But Monday is the monthly candle close, and that's going to be the most important. And it looks like we are going to have maybe a good monthly candle close because things can continue to melt up until all those resistance levels get hit.
And then look out on April 1st, April Fool's Day, the day after, when anything can happen. They can just open the month any way they want. They can have some crazy wick that goes way down or way up.
Then, they sure can.
Yeah. Look out for that first couple of days of the month.
Yeah. So you have anything to add on your charts, Tracker?
Let's see. If you show this SPY chart, I kind of been looking at this daily chart. I drew this a few days ago. I think I drew this back when, like last week or a week ago or so. And I was just looking at the Ichimoku clouds on the daily chart and how we pulled way down here. And it just seems like it wanted to maybe gravitate back up into this little zone. and then maybe retrace down into this zone. So like you can see, here's the green part, here's the red part. It just seemed to make sense looking at the cloud itself. Um, it seems like price was in a hurry to come down, and then now it's in a hurry to come up to here. I kind of worry a little bit when price runs this way, then that way really fast. And you can see there's sort of like this big break, this gap. I just can't stop looking at it, and I worry that maybe on the way, if we lose some momentum tomorrow, then maybe we end the week kind of before going back up here again. So I don't know. I'm just still cautious about this gap here, but without it, I mean, it's possible that the price will just keep continuing higher. This is the the SPY moving 200-day moving average, and we did close above it, and that could be good, unless this just hangs out here as some sort of doji and it comes back down again. So I think the proof will be sort of tomorrow. If either we get a red day tomorrow, or if it goes sideways, then maybe we could lose some momentum and see one of these gaps come down. Otherwise, it would have to be a pretty strong run up to check out this daily Ichimoku baseline, about 581. Otherwise,
Yeah.
and I just put some fibs on here from the 613 high up here to the 549 low down here. This is sort of like the 382 is where we got up here. So, it's possible it could go 382, 236, 618 like that. So, and I was kind of relieved to hear Real Blonde Broker say at the end of the day today that she herself like kind of hugged her money tightly at the end of the day today, just kind of like went back to cash, and she's just going to wait and see what happens tomorrow as well. So be a little cautious tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if
That's all I was going to say about that.
If the Rubon Blocker doesn't know, then anybody knows.
She's like, she's not sure what could happen tomorrow either.
Yeah. Glad to hear your voice. You sound energetic. You sound good. It's
thanks. I feel better.
Yeah, this is the first time that the three of us have been back in 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
No need to be sorry. I mean, sorry. You gotta take care of yourself.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Let me see. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm not even going to use any indicators or anything. And if you look at this, you don't even need to be like a technical analyst. If you just draw lines and sticks, you can kind of see like this is a horizontal zone that basically the SPX just came back and back test, right? And then right now we are at resistance. Why? Because we're at this zone over here, and it was previously support here, now turning resistance. So right now we're stuck in a range between this level down here and this level up here. That's you at the top of the range. They're going to be traders. They're going to try to sell where we're kind of currently at right now, and maybe bring it back to the bottom of the range. I think it's entirely possible. But I hope that it doesn't chop around that much longer, because if it does, then we're going to end up losing some momentum on a higher time frame, and that could get me a little bit more worried. But I still think that the higher time frame still looks good, just like Matt was showing, with the conversion or the Tenkin still kind of holding a support, and that's what bull markets do all the time. They come back, they get close to the Tenkin, and they just keep going up. That just happens over and over again. So this is nothing unusual for a correction yet. I don't think that the market's broken. I think it just needs to do what it needs to do. And I think if we are able to close the month kind of the way that we do right now, I think we should be fine on a higher time frame. So yeah, not much else to
what's interesting?
Yeah, what's up?
Used to have that 2-week Tesla chart. Look at the 2-week SPX chart, and you'll see that we just sort of back tested the 2-week Ichimoku baseline.
Yeah. And this is not anything unusual. Sometimes you have that happen. Here it's a little bit scary, right? Everybody remembers 2022. We did end up breaking down underneath the baseline here, and we tried to back test both of these, and we're not able to hold. That's why we end up going down, right? After you turn previous support into resistance, that's when you have that big giant correction here, right? But I see plenty of other examples. Sometimes you just kind of get close to the baseline and it just kind of keep going. I don't really see this being an issue. Like if you just even look at the 2003 to 2008 bull market, that's exactly what it did. It just touched the baseline and just kept on going on the way up. So I don't really see this currently being that big of an issue. We are losing a lot of momentum. I think that's why a lot of people are kind of worried. But it's still not scary to me, but I would like to see some momentum to build back up to get a little bit more of a powerful bull market, but we'll see. Yeah, you gonna leave me hanging with my chart out and be all silent and like?
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you. I have a linear scale GAN too on the SPY.
Go for it.
I wanted to point out for people as well. And where's my chart? There it is.
I thought you said you're too busy eating a McRib, but that's...
Well, yeah, a McJuicy rib, yeah. So here's my linear again from the beginning of time back in 93 and for the SPY. And look at what it's trying to do. It's trying to actually hold this linear scale arc right here. And the 45-degree angle was a perfect resistance the whole time until it broke out. So even if it did lose this arc, the 45-degree angle probably should catch it. And yeah, that is kind of far down below. That's in the 530s, but that's not like detrimental to anything really. So, but I think that this monthly candle here can actually close the month right around it, right in the 580s. And guess what? 581, that number sounds familiar, right? Because that is essentially where that conversion and baseline are on the weekly chart. So basically that is the blue part, the blue arc, right? 581 right there. So there we are. And I think that's kind of telling a sign that maybe it does want to continue holding this as a support, because when we zoom in here, we can see that it broke out, back test, deep back test, but it still has the potential to close above. So if this maintains the arc, then I don't think we need to go back down lower. And if we don't need to go back down lower, then possibly the arc above in the 600s becomes possible. And even the blue level above becomes possible. And that's at 760, 770. So there we are. This is a very good looking chart. The blue angle, perfect resistance, flip to support a couple of times. Even during COVID, that COVID backtest was just a backtest of that angle. So if we get something similar to that, maybe that could be like a Max Payne scenario, but it doesn't really change the bearishness or the bullishness, I should say, of the chart, right? Because an angle was previous resistance, flip to support. So I think at one point in time, it probably will touch that 45-degree angle. We just don't know when, right? Because they usually do back tests. And technically, it already did a back test on August 5th, right here.
Yeah.
It did a back test already of it. So it's not really guaranteed to go down there. But I think it's an interesting development for the SPY that it's very, very symmetrical and everything is beautiful. Even this back test of the arc here and kind of a breakout and a back test of the orange level too. So just great developments here for the SPY and really still has a great possibility of closing the month out super strong for that continuation higher.
I guess the yen carry trade August can't little wick all the way down to the 45-degree angle technically would qualify as a back test.
Yeah.
But I guess you can look at the angle down below with the blue angle too. It kind of back tested twice, and with the Trump tariffs and with the COVID, So it's hard to say for sure.
But yeah, I don't think that still would change my thesis on a bull market though, even if it did do that, because technically it's still a higher low on a high time frame, right? It really hasn't found a higher low yet at all, except for this one right here. But this higher low could go a little bit deeper. It could do that. So yeah, interesting developments, but I still think there's a great potential, a great possibility of closing above that 581, 582, and then boom, goes higher.
Yep. Stonks, they go up. They always go up.
Stonks.
Up into the right.
Over time. Yeah, over time.
Yeah, over time.
Well, what about...
just keep in mind,
go ahead.
Oh, no, I would say, all these indexes like the SPY and QQQ and whatnot, it's a basket of really successful companies. So they really do tend to go up into the right. You can't look at any one of these charts and think, it's going to be like one of those, none of these is going to be Enron, right? You don't get a the whole economy doesn't just Enron on itself, because that's like an outlier all by itself.
Well,
These are
if
hundreds of
the
companies.
United States government went like belly up, then maybe.
I don't know, maybe, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No, me either.
Um,
Not at all.
I do want to talk about just we'll talk about Bitcoin in a second, and GME. I was excited to hear that GME says that they were going to buy Bitcoin, that like their board approved buying Bitcoin. I was disappointed to hear that they hadn't already been buying Bitcoin. I was hoping that their announcement would be like, "Oh yeah, and we bought all this Bitcoin when it was down low." They didn't say that. They just said, "Oh, well, the board has approved purchasing Bitcoin." So that's why I think
Yeah.
it only went up like 5% or 8%
it went
overall.
up.
That dropped 5%.
Yeah, since you mentioned it, we can just pull it up here, and all it did is go back to resistance, and we can see that with the weekly chart. It went back. It's going back. Well, actually, it's breaking above right now. The 200 week and the baseline. I was thinking maybe the baseline would not break above, but yeah, it could just go way up and then continue on. But this is still just Tuesday of the week, so it could just turn into a wick and maybe even close back below all this. So yeah, just be a little bit cautious here, because after hours pre-market, it doesn't really tell you the real move. We'll see how the candle closes on Friday. But yeah, the 200 week moving average, $27, baseline 27.35. That's really what I'm looking at. If it does close the week above both of those, then yeah, it could get some momentum going back. And on the monthly chart too, it is getting back above this conversion line that's really sloping down. So I'm not sure if that's going to be holding it back or anything. Then you got the 50-month moving average above. So maybe it's not really ready to break out towards 30 just yet, but I think it's going in the right direction.
It is going in the right direction. It never made a lower low after my giant wave 1, wave 2, so it's still on track for all the. I think 70 is what I got for it to eventually go to next before it retraces any for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the way that the candle's looking, though. I mean, it's just like a beautiful hammer right underneath resistance. So I don't know what that means, but it's But like you said, Trager it's been forming like more or less higher low over the last 6 months. So,
well, what I think it means, regardless, is if it does close around here, I think the following monthly candle is going to open up above the conversion line. And then it'll probably be more momentum to the upside. So I think that's what it means. Maybe not this month, but maybe next month can have some continuation.
The tricky part with the GME Ichimoku is that the big giant wick that happened in May of 2024, like the top of the wick is going to be used to calculate these conversion and base. Like the big giant wick that went all the way up to like $65 or something like that. Like that wick is going to use this calculation. So it's not using the candle body to calculate. So it's going to be a little bit off,
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, that's my only critique on the Ichimoku cloud, if that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah. Well, 100%. Yeah. It takes all the wicks into account.
Yeah. I mean, I can also just if you want to pull up the monthly Bollinger Band, go for it. If you want to, just turn off everything else, then just kind of zoom out. Man, you got so many different things going on.
Yeah.
If you want to just even zoom out to the last cycle. I'm sorry, man. I should have just done it.
I mean, I can switch to you right now, Kat, if you want.
Well, yeah. Now you're going to switch to me. Now you turn everything off and switch to me. But look at how beautiful that 20-month moving average is flipped from resistance to support. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
You can't, and you can look at the previous cycle. Whenever it was underneath the 20-month moving average from like 2017, 2018, you just kept on going down, 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 down. Right. Once you lost the 20, the bear market started and it became extremely vicious. It was a falling knife. Until you're able to really push above the 20 and really flip it, from resistance to support, that's when you really started to have a bull market. Last time the whole bull market burned out in like 6 months. In 2020, 2021, like all burned out in 6 months. This time is taking its time.
Yeah.
This time it's really, really taking its time. Like it just seems like the whole cycle is just a lot slower for whatever reason. And there's also like no volume too. If you turn on the volume, like there's no volume. So all it takes is just a little bit of volume for you to really get things to kickstart here. Why do you have all the earning labels down there, man?
Because they're fun, man. They're fun.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
Oh, much better. Look at all
Yeah.
the lack of volume. Last time you had some volume, it just pumped, and it doesn't really take a whole lot of volume. I'm not even talking about 2021 volume. All it takes is just a little bit of volume to kind of pump up. Right? I'm not saying that this move is real. Usually, when it's just like what Matt would say, if it's news driven right into resistance, that's usually like bad news. But
Yeah.
but I can't help but to see, hey, whenever some volume comes in, this thing's gonna be pretty impulsive, and it looks like the current trend, based on looking at the monthly Bollinger Band, it's starting to kind of expand here a little bit too, to the upside and the downside, right? So it's getting that Bollinger Band kind of warmed up, trying to crouch underneath and try to do a little cat jump, and it's trying to do that, but it's just not quite ready to do it. It's waiting for some volume. It's waiting for Bollinger Band kind of shake out a little bit. Last time we couldn't pump that high because it just simply got rejected here at the upper Bollinger Band. Like it wasn't expanding; it was downward sloping, and now it's kind of like easing up a little bit. It's getting ready for it to maybe do something here. So, none of this is guaranteed. And this is like a monthly chart. Like when I look at the monthly chart, you really talk about trading a whole cycle. So I'm not saying like buying calls or whatever. Because we don't like
YOLO.
Yeah, we
Zero
don't like...
dated. Yeah, let's do it.
No, that's not what we meant at all. Like, we look at monthly chart because we're like, we don't want the stress of necessarily going in and out on a short time frame. I mean, I think Tracker does it, and he does a wonderful job of that. But it's important to also take a step back to look at what's actually happening with the cycle. So that's all I have to say.
It's really saying, to me at least, that this is probably one of the beginning of the cycle, from something that was below the whole time, broke out, back tested already, and I think it's just making its way higher, right? Slowly but surely.
Yeah, but a lot of people are gonna get a lot of people got hurt from it. They thought it was just a pump and dump, and that was it. But I see that as a momentum shifting move that is gonna end up playing longer term. So that's why I ended up buying more and more into it. So that's it. That's all I have to say about GME, man.
Very good. Do you have any other charts you want to show, or should we just jump into Bitcoin?
Tracker, whatever you want, man. You want to do Bitcoin? Go for it.
Yeah, I think you were bringing up Bitcoin. Yeah, I'll bring you up.
Yeah, well, I'll just show my GME thing because everyone loves to see this. Just based off of the price, these are weekly candlesticks from start. This wave one that went way up here, and then the wave two down here, and it never went lower than 1757. So as long as we don't get a new lower low than 1757, my 764 is still up here at 7109. So this is the kind of bullish pattern I'm looking for. The volume does come in on GME. So that's the kind of stuff we're hoping for. But yeah, Bitcoin chart. I was just going to show, this is an 8-hour chart. And yeah, basically since it hit 109, 356, I mean, it kind of goes up there way too, but on the 8-hour chart, it's kind of had this trend line here. I mean, there's kind of a wick above it here, wick above it there. And today, at the close of the day, we had a wick above it again at the close of today's U.S. market, and now we're back below it again. So I don't know what to say, except I'm looking at maybe after it got over my moving average 75 here in orange, it breaks out, maybe it back tests it once, which would put it about 85,293, and then takes off. That's what I'm hoping for. Because so far, every time it hits the moving average 75, it got rejected. Here it looked like I was going to do it, and rejected. And now we're finally over it. So when is it going to back test it? Could it do it right away, or could it go for a while and then come back and test it back out here somewhere? I don't know. But on this 8-hour chart, it kind of looks like it wants to go sideways. On a weekly chart, just looking at the Ichimoku clouds, on the weekly chart, it also looks like it could go sideways if it wants to hit it. Matt's talked about that a lot in the morning shows. Or, even if it just follows it and stays over it. It could still kind of get stuck. I don't know. Matt's going to have a better chart for you, but I'm looking to see if it's going to do this or not. And if it does this, Tesla likes to follow Bitcoin for whatever reason. So with this wick up here, I'm just worrying that means that Tesla might start testing back tomorrow as well. And with that said, Matt, why don't you show us your lovely chart for Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'll pull up my linear scale chart right here, and we can see that it got back to this fib, and it flipped it back to a support, the 83,558, and now it's making its way to the 45-degree angle. So I'll take this off so you guys can see it clearly. That previous resistance did break out, went directly through it, and now it's really right there. It's right there. We can zoom in here, and it's getting rejected right now. So that's really around 87,500, 87,600, that zone. And we can see that also, if you want to look at the bull market support, it's getting kind of like rejected right off it as well, the bottom. And if you guys want to know what that is, that green is the 21-week EMA. So that's the EMA, and the top one is the SMA. So therefore, we can see that price is at a serious place where maybe it won't be able to break above just yet. Got the angle, got that 21-week EMA. So I think we could just see a battle going on maybe for even the rest of the week, or even some weeks to come as well, because this is resistance right now. And also, when I go back and put on my Fibonacci, we're going to have even more resistance back at that 91,158 as well. And essentially, when you look at it just like this, it's really right in between fibs right here. So it's right in the middle of a zone. And usually when things are in the middle of a zone, they could go either way, right? Could go back and retest like 83,000 zone, could go up to the 91. So I'm not really convinced just yet that it wants to continue higher. So with that said, even when you look at MicroStrategy, it's at resistance too. A lot of things are approaching their high time frame weekly chart resistance levels. So I just gotta be cautious until there's confirmation that it really wants to break above.
All right. Yeah, I got a couple of things to show too that may have some confluence with what you guys are showing, which is kind of the possibility of going back down to the 85, 84, 83,000 range. This is the log scale daily GAN that I have, and actually has pretty decent market symmetry with these arcs, and especially this arc over here. It's just been following on the downtrend here on this arc for a very long time, right? You know, thank goodness this arc is here. Otherwise, I don't know what else I would do. But it got rejected here on the top arc here almost perfectly, and then it's just kind of grabbed it back down here. Initially, I was hoping this support zone down here would hold, and it ended up breaking down and test the arc down here we go. And then now all these things over here had flipped from, you know, support here initially into resistance, and now we're having a hard time kind of breaking back above one at a time. We're able to break above this this horizontal line over here. I think it's around 84,400, somewhere around there. There's a possibility for it to come back down to that range to test, which is exactly what you guys are showing too, you know. And that would not be an unhealthy thing, because we broke above this horizontal zone over here, and we haven't really had the proper back test yet. So that would not be a bad thing for it to do that. And then on top of that, if I just shut off all of this, if I just look at the daily Bollinger Band, right, you can see how the 20-day moving average is right around that support zone as well, right? It just seems like we're losing some momentum up here too, because we have all these wicks up here above. We're at resistance, you know, I think 87, 88,000 is just going to be a pretty strong resistance zone. So I would not be surprised if it does a rug pull all the way down to 84, you know, thousand, somewhere around there, and do a back test. And would that be a bad thing with the Bollinger Band squeezing like this? With the fact that if you look at the 12-hour, you look at the 12-hour chart, you know, it could also come back down and back test that zone around 84, 85,000. It's not, you know, that would actually be a healthy thing for it to make higher highs and higher lows. On top of that, this whole thing right here just looks kind of like an Adam and Eve bottom over here, which could be a reversal pattern that is much needed to get back to where it needed to go. But at this point, higher high, higher lows, it could use some higher low here to kind of reset sentiment here a little bit before going further. So these are just kind of confluences that I'm seeing. So, all right, take over.
Yeah. Basically, there's a lot of things that are at that resistance, and
Yeah.
I did mention MicroStrategy, and somebody mentioned it in the chat too. So that's a good proxy for Bitcoin, and I'll pull that up real quick. Where this chart right here, right? We'll zoom out. It opened a new weekly candle. Like, first of all, we'll talk about the positive, right? Open a new weekly candle above the conversion line there for the first time, right? The first time since last year. The last time it was above and closed a weekly candle above it was December 9th of 2024. So that's a great development, opening and maybe even closing above it. But more importantly, what we can see right now is this Fibonacci level. And we can just turn some of these stuff off here. And with that, we can see that the Fibonacci level is 340, and it's at resistance as well. Sure, it closed the day above, but this is a weekly candle, so we don't know if it's really going to close the week above. And this was a big zone, right? A previous support zone flipped to resistance, and now technically it's still resistance. So another example of something at resistance, and it's exactly basically at resistance at the same time as Bitcoin. So more confirmation that it's not really ready to break out, but there is a potential to even go up to the baseline during the week there around 350, but it's not a guarantee to close above any of these by Friday. So we'll see how that candle closes, and perhaps it does need a little bit more time to get closer to the cloud before it really wants to go higher. But yeah, I mean, the good news is it's going all in the right direction. This 1.272, it held perfectly, 245.46, and for 3 weeks in a row, wicked below. Never even touched the 50-week moving average. So with that said, all signs are pointing to a healthy development to continue higher, but right now there are so many things that are really at a high time frame resistance, so we just got to be cautious here because it's not a guarantee to break free, at least not on the first try.
Yep, that first try is always crucial.
Yeah. So with that said, Tracker, you got more stuff. Kat, got more stuff?
Let's see.
Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? I'm game. You know.
I mean, we haven't talked
about. We haven't talked about Tesla yet. What? Why?
Yeah. Well, Tracker, you haven't been with us for a few weeks, and you are the Tesla Tracker. So
I am the Tesla Tracker. So let's take a look at which one of these charts. This one right here. If you pull me up, I'm already up. Great, thanks. You are here. We're at 280. Let's see, this is a weekly chart. So this is the close of the day was 288.14. I think after hours, we're at 287.25. 287.25. And I just want to show, I really do believe we're still headed for, something like my 700-ish. I don't know if we'll get there by July now, but it's still possible. I mean, that would look like, would that look like to get to 700 by July? Oh gosh, it looks like July 14th is what I was talking about, and that would be like a super V. I mean, like it would just have to scream up. So I don't know if it's going to make it by July anymore, but certainly, by the end of the year. Here's the end of the year. That's possible. And yeah, it really looked like the $215 and I'm sorry, $250. No, it was $215. $215.01 really did look like a bottom here. And on this weekly chart, you've got, Matt and Kat talked about this already. You got the chopsticks down there, the double bottom. That looks really strong for a bottom. And it's just the kind of thing that you would expect to see. That would be support. Just like this isn't quite the same double chopstick, but it almost is. That was resistance. Maybe this is support. I still worry about that stupid gap. I can't stop looking at it. But maybe it just the V-shaped recovery would be fantastic. So here's. And if we don't get a V-shaped recovery, the other one is the recovery kind of come down like that, and then goes up. So either one of these is possible. It certainly fits inside of these weekly Ichimoku clouds that we've got here. There's plenty of room to the right here for it to go sideways if it wanted to. I'm hoping for a V-shaped recovery for everybody's sake. I would love it to just see it scream straight up. And it's done stuff like that in the past. Well, here's a K, right? Oops. Move this back. K shape. Screams up. Yeah, and I guess the point I wanted to make was because it ran so hard down like this, it's really like the waveforms are really strong, are really volatile now. So it would not surprise me at all to see lots of price action that just goes, that goes crazy, janky, up and down and up and down. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come back down like this, and then up here, and then come back down here and go up here like that. So just be cautious. I mean, there's either trading opportunities or just a nice holding opportunity. And if you bought anywhere down here, you're probably just safest holding and not worrying about trading it out like I do. I kind of got, Kat doesn't know, I kind of got freaked out yesterday, and I sold a bit early. I think I sold right around like this 275 level, and then decided to wait and see if it comes back again. And Real Blonde Broker did the same thing, but she let the whole day go all the way through today. She came out farther ahead, but she's also now kind of waiting in to see what happens tomorrow. So that's all I got to say. A little cautious here, but it was the daily 200 moving average. Not on this chart. But we kind of came right up to it and then just slightly over it. Here it is right here. Daily. This red line right here, that's the 200 moving day average, and price jumped above it. It was resistance yesterday, kind of went down. Now we're back above it. I don't know. It looks good. It looks like it could keep going, but I just don't know yet. I don't believe it until it gets above it and tests back down to it for support again. So 285.21, 285.21. It almost did it right here, but not quite. 285.21 is actually right. It's a moving average, so it might be a different number tomorrow, but I'm looking for it to basically touch this top again. Well, got what you kind of did right there. I don't know. Tomorrow's going to be a weird day. It's very important to see what happens tomorrow. I guess that's all I got to say. And then, longer term, I don't know, I'm rambling, but longer term, I am still looking for Tesla to go to 1,000 easily. It's just going to take some time to get there.
Yeah, Kim Appreciates Live was asking too, do you have two separate positions? Do you have TSLA and Tesla, and are you doing different things with each?
Right now, I'm just doing TSLL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing my thing, trading it out. Since we're going in an uptrend, this is usually where I'm strongest. And so I'll try to follow my own TA and trade in and out to see if I can make the most of moving our way up here.
Yeah.
And that's it. No, I don't have any Tesla right now.
Okay. So that answers that question.
TSLO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kat? What do you think?
Thoughts on a wave B back down? Wait, I'm sorry. I do have one more chart.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which might have already invalidated, but not necessarily. So here's TSLL, the 2X ETF of Tesla. And I was kind of looking at if it did an A, B, that was the high, then I had a bunch of C waves. But now we have a higher high, so this is all dust. It doesn't really. It's a brand new thing now, so I don't know if this is our wave 3 top here, or if it continues a little farther first. Wave 3 is usually the longest, strongest wave, and it's really showing up that way right here. This is 1, 2, then a minor 1, 2, and then this is the heart of the third wave. So I'm not surprised that it's doing really well. And I kind of got out a little bit early right here where everyone's got these. This is a buy order block. People are hoping to buy back down here, right where I sold yesterday. All right, that's it. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah, Kat,
thank you
what about you?
Thank you for sharing, Tracker. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Tracker.
I gotta, yeah, you can
Oh,
flip over to me if you want. I gotta make a point very, very clear. I think I was reading a post on X by Steve DeBacon, basically saying that if you have to look at the monthly chart, you're backholding. Like there's a lot of truth to that. But the truth is I don't mind backholding because I'm not really a trader. Like the things that I look at, things I do, if real blind broker is like looking at it, she's just gonna shake her head like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? She's
Yeah.
like looking at these really low time frame charts and are being like surgically precise, just kind of like Tracker. You guys adapt. You guys are trading in and out of the TSLA. Like I'm not doing that. And everybody's got their different style. And I don't mind being a backholder. A lot of people are not able to do that, and they listen to like what we're looking at, like the weekly and monthly time frame, and they just get super excited. They like just go all in. For me, I kept rebalancing into Tesla all the way down this down move over here from like 300 all the way down to like the two teens. So right now I think I'm back above water, but I don't mind because it's one of those things that it's all about your mentality. Now you can say that, well, if you're a chartist, then why aren't you trading? If you're a chartist, then why what and you're using these like DCA strategies, like it doesn't make sense, right? Well, it does actually, because I want to buy. There are a couple of spots that I want to buy. I want to buy this downtrend over here, and also want to buy this downtrend over here if I see higher highs and higher lows. I'm not necessarily really trying to trade in and out because I got a day job, and a lot of people are in the same little boat that we are, right? Like we have these daytime responsibilities. We just can't trade in and out. We just want to look for opportune times to try to get in. We're not trying to do it perfectly, and that's kind of my style. And there were a lot of supports that were broken on the way down, including the 20-month moving average, which we have reclaimed, including the 0.618, which we have reclaimed, including the Ichimoku cloud top over here, which we have reclaimed. So I think at any of those points, if you would have bought with me, I think it would have been fine, unless if you're unless you can't handle the scariness, and unless if you just can't really unless you're being constrained by the element of time. If you pay for your rent with the money, then that's not the best use of your money. If you like use half of your assets into Tesla, it's probably not the like, it's not going to make you sleep at night, right? So I think it's important to figure out your risk tolerance and figure out what you want to do. Trading in and out on a daily basis is not for everybody. DCAing, yeah, that's a strategy, but I like to be just a little tiny bit more precise than that. I like to try to buy these downtrends down here, and that's exactly kind of what I did. The crazy thing too here, if I just turn off, because it gets a little bit busy, if I just turn off Bayesian conversion here, I think that Tesla has really compressed the price action from like 2017 to 2019. You compressed the price action here for about 2.5 years into 6 months. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you basically broke above this resistance zone or resistance diagonal trend line over here, got above of it, haven't really back tested it, and now you're back tested like 2.5 years later. This you think this is brutal right now? Can you imagine how brutal it was to hold from like 2017 all the way to 2019? Like this is nothing.
Yeah, like it ripped the Band-Aid off,
Yeah. Can you imagine like people holding through all this? They're like, oh, it's a bull market now, and then they come back and back test the zone. It broke above the cloud, already back test the top of the cloud here, and now it's coming back to back test the bottom of the cloud, right? Can you imagine the pain and the suffering for that? I'm glad that this happened.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I see a lot of market symmetry here, and I actually hadn't had a chance to backtest it. It did it perfectly, right, together with the cloud. So a lot of things have really been taken care of. And right now we've got a pretty strong reaction because we have a pretty decent monthly hammer candle over here. So I have to say, like, if you're looking at higher time frame, it's a lot less stress free. If you're just holding shares, if you just want to trade cycles, then I think that was probably the opportunity to buy, and I did that, and I didn't do it in an exactly precise way. But right now, on a higher time frame, like, I'm not bearish because look at the horizontal zone right here, right? Over here, and over here. It grabbed all the liquidity below that horizontal zone. So far, it's still holding that area over there. Does it mean that the month has to close, right here? No, I mean, it can always close down underneath, whatever. I mean, as long as it close above like the 0.618, as long as it close above the cloud, I don't really care. But so far, the reaction is pretty decent. And that's really kind of my key thought here. I can also pull up the 20-month moving average here. This bull market, like, it's still not broken because it's still using the 20-month moving average here from resistance here back into support. It's just back testing it, forming higher highs and higher lows. So I'm comfortable holding Tesla. I think this is usually like an early bull market type behavior where it has a very, very big impulse on the way up, trying to stretch the Bollinger Band here a little bit to get ready for the big run. That's kind of how I feel what Tesla is doing right now. I don't really see this being a lame duck bull market, kind of like how it did it over here, because of that. So I think that this is going to be a pretty decent area here where it took in a lot of the correction that it needed to do before pushing higher. But again, obviously I can't be right all the time. I'm in it because this is how I feel where the cycle's going. I also feel like the global liquidity is also still going up. I think that Bitcoin's still on a bull trend. I still think that Elon Musk is still running the government, so I don't have any concerns over what's happening right now with the Tesla's price action. But I can be wrong. So my money's in it, but I can be wrong. So anyway, those are all my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. We all thought Tesla would not go that low, but I think what was one thing that we should have, or at least I should have paid attention to, was the market symmetry on the log scale chart that I had this whole time right here, right? Because when it was up here, I was looking at it, I'm like, there's no way it's going to go down here, right? So I was just paying more attention. What's that?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was a black screen there for a while. Now it popped up. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, well, like when it was up here, I was like, there's no way it's going back down to this because it just didn't even seem possible. So I was like counting on the fibs, counting on everything to hold, but no, didn't hold. But if I was just using this alone, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably where it's going because it made sense, right? There was a previous resistance here. So back testing that or even getting the liquidity below like it did, it just made sense. It made perfect sense to do that when I just look at this alone. But that's the thing. Like when it comes to fibs and moving averages, Tesla likes to cut right through it on the way up and on the way down. But when it comes to market symmetry, it usually respects it. And this chart is a perfect example of that because even during COVID in February, it reached the blue level and then it back tested and got the liquidity down below with that angle and came back above. So the symmetry of this chart is beautiful, and it was in front of my face the whole time, and I should have relied on it more, right? But that's something that we just don't know. We don't know how low it's going to go, but if you do dollar cost average on the way down at points that are potential of holding, that's the benefit of TA. You're not just guessing, oh, I'm going to just randomly add right here, right? No, we just have certain levels that, yeah, I'll add more here, add more there, and so on and so forth, and that's what Kat and I did. And yeah, it's actually paying off now because now price is going back up. And also, what I'm looking at the most here is that arc, and that's what I care about the most is like that 250 level. If that just continues to hold, then I think price will just continue to go higher and higher and higher. And also, when I go to the linear scale GAN that I show all the time on my weekly updates here, it also made sense too. Like losing this level, and I was watching that 358, when it came back up and confirmed it as resistance, I should have put that on the table all the way down here. The blue angle and the arc, because the arc never got back tested since it broke out, right? It used to be a resistance here and it was a breakout and it's a back test of that arc. And just seeing that now in hindsight, it's just so obvious why I went down there. But when you're actually experiencing it in real time, it's like, there's no way it's going to just go from 358 to 217, right? There's no way. But you know what? That's what it does sometimes. And does it change the fact that it's still a bullish chart? No, it doesn't change that fact at all because it's very, very, very bullish still. And even though it cut through a lot of levels, and when you even add on the Ichimoku, it still went below like the conversion, the baseline, and even the conversion line is still up there at 318. And when we go to the moving averages too, it finally got back above that 50-week moving average as well. So that's at 271. So there's a lot of developments here that are very, very positive. And one of the ones too is that 200-day moving average. It actually closed the day back above it, and that's at 285.25. So all of that scariness basically has been reclaimed now that the 200-day moving average has been reclaimed. So I think the good thing to watch for the days to come is this 285.25. And if it can stabilize on top of that, then we can possibly even see a continuation to the 290s, maybe even the 300s above. But it is approaching this resistance zone here because 292 looks like it is going to be resistance. And not only that, when we go to the linear scale fib, the 295, we're back. That's back on the table again. Previous resistance broke out, tried to hold it as support, and now it's going to be probably resistance on the way back up. So we are in a resistance zone, but it has potential to hold that 200-day moving average as support. So I am still very bullish on the future of it, and I think it just might take a little bit of time to get through one level at a time. But who knows? Like sometimes it likes to melt up on you and just surprise everybody, and maybe it can cut through all of this weekly resistance levels on the way back up. Only time will tell.
I remember a few months ago, like back in, actually not a few months, almost a year ago now, which is kind of crazy how long we've been doing this. I remember us talking about how 200 is going to be a very, very like strong resistance zone, and how like 250 is going to be a strong resistance zone. And I remember us talking about all this, and Tesla doesn't care. Size is for everything.
It doesn't care. Yeah. Like all these lines on the screen here, it doesn't care. But what it does care about is market symmetry. It cares about the symmetry of everything. And I'm going to use this as a guide until it breaks back above this level again, the 475, right? And that was the top, right? That was the top. It even wicked above it right there. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And if you guys know any traders that have gotten this move extremely correct, like please let us know, because we like to recognize them. A lot of people are kind of under the radar, we're all here to learn as well. So if you guys know any like little accounts or whatever, they're getting extremely right and they're under recognized and they're good people, then let us know.
Yeah. Yes, good people too. Yes. But yeah, and I'm with Kat too. Like even though we recognize resistance and support, I think it's just I've been through this a lot, and I prefer just not going in and out because it just adds more stress to my life. And with everything else, I don't really need to focus on going in and out. But what I would like to do is just accumulate more for the future. So that's always been my strategy for a while, because I think that usually plays out well. Because with stocks like Tesla, you never know if a resistance is going to break or not, right? So what if you sell resistance and then it just keeps going? Then you're like, forced to chase back higher, Sometimes that doesn't work in your favor. And so that's why I think accumulation in a bull market is the best strategy for me and for Kat as well.
Yeah. Does it change your mind, in terms of like, maybe getting into Tesla shares, or do you still think that the strategy of doing TSLA on the channel up is still, like what do you think? The Tesla tracker is not here anymore.
He's here. Maybe his mic is muted and he's
like doing
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I still like doing a TSLL going up. I don't know. I just love going up. Hello?
You're breaking in and out.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yes. Yeah. Start over.
Oh man, he's got alienated again.
Oh no, tracker. Your microphone or your internet connection or both is being all weird.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Well, you want to move on to something else while trackers
figure
his stuff out. Yeah.
Now I'm going to sound terrible because I'm using the laptop microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Just turn the volume up on this thing so I can hear you as well.
Just sound like a 1960s like Kennedy Nixon debate. That's all. But yeah, go for it.
Oh my God, the humanity. TSLL is still my preference for when things are going up bullishly. I wrote it down, wasn't fun, but I think I can trade it back on the way up and make up for lost time here. So not too worried. I guess it's just my style.
Yeah, no, everybody's got their different style, right? Which is, I think, like there's no need to trash on one another. You know, there's some folks that look at TA from like a cycle perspective, and we're not trying to time things perfectly. There are folks that are very, very extremely precise. So, but anyway, yeah, just wanted to talk about that, and that's it. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to look at like Palantir, NVDA, and then maybe some alts and kind of call it a day, or you know, maybe if you want to do requests. I don't know. I can probably stick around for another half hour.
Yeah, we can do a few more. I did want to focus on NVIDIA actually, just because it's at a very important level. And when we go to the monthly chart here for NVIDIA, it's at the green GAN level right here, a little bit below it, but also when we go to the conversion line on the monthly chart, it's at 121.91, and it keeps on getting rejected at that level. And we all know that this could be the first monthly candle close below it in 2 years, right? The last time was December 2022. So this is kind of an important monthly candle close, and I would love to see this be like a bullish hammer candle. It close back above levels for the potential to continue higher. So it still has that potential, but right now it's just battling this zone for NVIDIA. So this is all I'm really watching is the 121.91, because I do not want to see it start to lose this high time frame momentum at all. So that's all I got to say on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's got a very nice wick underneath, so it still has a chance. I think we still have another few trading days for the month. So we'll see how it goes. It does look like there is a lot more loss of momentum here, and it's been dragging on for like a whole year. Unlike Tesla, you know, where it's just kind of did everything. It's like up, down, you know, it's just this thing is just like burning everybody out and losing a lot of momentum here. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to add. I think there's still a chance for it to break about the 2.272 and go up to ARC. I think that's still a possibility. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah, and that could be like the cycle ender, or unless if this whole thing right there is the bull market correction that is needed for it to like reignite like a huge bull market on the way up. I mean, I don't know. It seems less likely. I think this maybe a little bit more like an exit liquidity pump going up to ARC is kind of still what my primary case is whenever it's done fighting support here. So yeah, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out on Monday where the monthly candle closes, so we'll see.
Yeah. You want to do Palantir real quick? And
PLTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's there's the monthly chart, but really the weekly chart is what I'm really focused on. And this GAN has been pretty accurate, where it broke out, got rejected at that angle, and came back down to the level and held perfectly. And now it's gaining more momentum, going back above the arc here, and now it's approaching resistance. So it's another stock approaching a resistance zone, and that's 99.04, the conversion line. So we have to see how everything plays out, because almost every chart we have shown so far is really getting closer to a resistance zone, whether that's Bitcoin, whether that's Tesla, whether it's Palantir. They're all getting to the top end of their weekly resistance zone. So got to just see how things play out for the rest of the week, and don't want to get trapped up there and just for things to go back down and retest before going higher. So could it come back down to the arc again in the 80s? Yeah, I'm sure it could. But in the meantime, it's just range bound is closer to resistance than it is support. So just got to let things play out. But still a super bullish chart. And we know this by the monthly chart. It's one of the most bullish ones, how it has still yet to even backtest the conversion line for a long time. and it got close to the 73.32, but it did not get there. It only got down to 74.57, but super bullish chart. So the momentum is still your friend.
I got all excited. I bought some PTIR, the 2X ETF of Palantir, when it did that wick down. I'm still in it.
Nice.
Yeah, that must have worked out pretty well, you know, because it really went down.
I wish I bought more.
Yeah, that must have worked out really, really well. Yeah, I want to show monthly comparison, and this is completely speculative. This is like this is not serious. This is not going to happen, and I don't want you guys to think that it is going to happen, because it's not. It's extremely stupid speculation. It's a completely different asset, and fractals don't always work out. I can keep going on and on telling you like how I don't think this is going to work out, but interesting.
Oh yeah, they line up real nice. I can see it.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting because so far I still don't really see any really true loss of momentum here for Palantir. Like even if you just look at the monthly, you know, usually bull market doesn't just end like this. Yeah, and usually you're gonna see a little bit of exhaustion here. Here, all it's saying is on the monthly is just overbought, and stay overbought for a long time, right? And volume's still looking pretty decent here for Palantir, even though everybody got super scared by the monthly candle here, and everybody's like saying, "Oh no, it's a gravestone doji," or "No, it's a shooting star candle." These things you can't determine the trend based on one candle. You have to determine the trend based on the trend, and the trend is still your friend. And the monthly Bollinger Band is still expanding to the upside and still expanding to the downside. So as far as I'm concerned, the bull market is still on. And again, I was completely transparent to that, you know, they can keep going up, and there's these crazy plus or minus 30%, 40% volatility. And I don't care. Like I was completely transparent about that, because even with the Bitcoin bull market, from 2015, 2017, it had these crazy moves that just swung like plus or minus like, you know, 40% or something ridiculous. Like everybody was scared. But the entire time it's just stretching the conversion and the baseline on the way up, right? And as it stretches on the way up, it back tested almost perfectly. And as it back tested it, it's just say, oh, you know, I don't want to end yet. I'm going to keep going up higher and stretch it even further. It just kept on going doing that over and over again. I think that's kind of what Palantir is doing. With this big giant wake up above, it actually stretched the 10-candle conversion line all the way up here, and then right now we're just kind of getting really close to it. That's kind of how this bull market stuff is working. It's the same thought that I have with like the it's the same thought that I have with the Bollinger Band, right? You have to have these kind of impulsive price action to kind of help stretch the Bollinger Band, and then as the Bollinger Band is stretching to the upside, that allows price to go up higher, right? So basically, it's just doing its thing, is rubber banding thing, and trying to stretch the hole wider and wider so you can go a lot higher. That's still kind of the behavior that I'm seeing here on a higher time frame. So I don't necessarily think the cycle is over. Now, if the month still has another like 4 trading days or something like that, if the month ends up closing above 1.414, then it's very, very similar to where we're at over here with Bitcoin back in that 2015, 2017 cycle, right? It doesn't have to, because right now we're range bound. We range bound between 1.272 and 1.414. It can range bound for a lot longer. Like nobody really knows. But as far as I'm concerned, like this is still a bull trend. This is still a bull market, and it's still doing what it's supposed to be doing. We haven't had any kind of correction here for like months and months and months and months for almost the entire year. And this is like really the first time where Palantir stops going up on a monthly basis. So it's completely healthy, and I'm not that worried about it. So I'm going to keep holding and then see how far it goes. If you're asking in terms of what would be showing me some concerns in terms of when I would want to exit, I'll show you example as to when I want to exit. Just burn this into your mind. I'm looking at the log chart here, looking at Bollinger Band, is still pointing down, right? So a couple examples as to why I want to exit on something that's extremely bullish on a crazy bull market like that, where it just stretches the Bollinger Band all the way to the upside, all the way to the downside, was Tesla, right? is this the top? Is this the top? Is this the top? Well, you can make all these guesses over here. But guess what? The entire time, the monthly Bollinger Band doesn't care. It just kept on going down and keeps stretching to the downside and kept on getting expanded down until January of 2021. Right? That's when you start to have a true curving back, right? Your true like Bollinger Band contraction here. Right? January 2021, where was the price action here for Tesla? January 2021, it was here. It's close to the top, but not quite, right? So you still have a little bit of pump here for like exit liquidity. And I think that's kind of what I'm kind of looking at here for Palantir too. During the last the bull market before that for Tesla, very similar thing happened. It had a full Bollinger Band expansion on the way down here. And whenever you really start have these like Bollinger Band contraction, October 2013, February 2014, October 2013 price is like right there. February 2014 price is right there. So you can say, yeah, that's getting closer to the top over here, right? And you have a little bit of a Bollinger Band contraction that is really kind of getting you a little bit worried, right? Do we have that with Palantir right now? With such a crazy, impulse that it has happened, does it look like Palantir wants to stop? Not really. So I think that the momentum is still on a higher time frame, is still to the upside. Doesn't mean that the stock is immune to any like 30, 40, 50% correction after going up like hundreds and hundreds of percent. So those are just my thought. So.
I like it. I think I'm going to buy some more Palantir. More PTIR.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you buy like PTIR, like if you have these crazy swings, you're gonna end up suffering from decay from it too. So it's pretty tough. I don't know what the right strategy is. Would I buy here? Probably not, because things have brought up a lot. But I don't see any reason to sell yet for me. So yeah,
that is correct. Samesies. I agree.
Samesies.
Samesies.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know what else you guys want to talk about.
Well, we can go through some of those requests if you want to do that.
I don't want to do it. I'm taking a break. This is my sabbatical. You guys do it. I'm not recovering enough to do lightning round. So.
But there is a request for Doge, so come on now. You gotta pull up the Doge.
All I gotta say is it's still forming higher highs and higher lows. This is the market cap. I should probably pull up the actual denomination against USD. So a lot of people are worried now. I see some posts like, oh no, the Bollinger Band contraction is bad, right? I do think that this bull market is a lot slower compared to the previous. Just look at how big of a base is forming here compared to the last time, right? This is already a lot longer. And even during this bull cycle over here, you can have some Bollinger Band expansion and still make another leg up, right? I still think that this is probably still early. I still think that the Bollinger Band contraction here is even unexpected for me, because I did not anticipate it had to come all the way back down to the 20-month moving average, because we already did that here, right? So it's a lot slower. It burns everybody out. Another thing too is that we had a Bollinger Band contraction here, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the bull cycle is over, right? And the third thing is we still haven't had the Bollinger Band contraction for Bitcoin yet. So that, to me, I still wonder whether or not we still have a lot more room to go up. And I think this might be like the push up on the upper Bollinger Band to try to expand up a little bit, back test the 20 holding so far before going up higher, right? So and if we also look at the global liquidity, which I guess I can talk a little bit about, in a sec, but yeah, I'm not that scared. If you also look at the weekly, it also did something crazy, because it broke through the weekly Ichimoku cloud, and it came back down to the bottom of the cloud here perfectly back in August of 2024, pushed through and made a big leg up, and then basically, I did not expect it to have to touch the Ichimoku cloud here again, but it did, right? Because it already kind of did that here, but it decided to do it again. This cycle is just a lot slower. Is burning everybody out. and guess what? Like the way I see it, and this may or may not be correct, but the way I see it is that if this is really truly a longer cycle, and if this is truly something that is happening a lot slower, because you had like 2.5-3 years before this global liquidity, the M2 money index breakout and backtest, it's just a lot slower compared to here. You know, here it took about like a year and a half, 2 years. Here is like 2.5, 3 years. So if this is what it takes, and this is the reason why, and we're just still waiting for that big impulse for the global liquidity to come, and if this is just a back test of this horizontal zone over here after a breakout, like I still don't really see anything broken about the Dogecoin chart, with the exception, I think, you know, short term is it might take longer, because we did end up breaking underneath a lot of stuff, right? Right now, we're trying to challenge the 0.5 log fib here. I'm hoping that we close the month above that, right? If we close the month above the 0.5 log fib, then the entire thing down here is just a big giant liquidity grab before going up higher, right? But we'll see. And I can say that if you're new to crypto, these kinds of like minus 40% move on a bull market happens all the time. Just because it goes down like 40% doesn't mean the bull market is over. So it did that here. If you look at even like, if you just zoom in, this big giant like thing over here has kind of gone sideways here for about 4 weeks. It went down like 40%. You know, like it went from like 1.4 cents all the way down to like 0.6 cents, right? I mean, like, this is crypto. If you are a great crypto trader, great. If not, if you want to look at cycles, then you have to have the ability to kind of stomach the volatility, and and maybe even add, you know, on these kind of crazy vicious downtrend, which is what I've been doing. You know, I really started adding like the 0.618 all the way down to like 0.5, dip down below, test the weekly Ichimoku cloud. I kept adding, you know. So yeah, is it fun? It depends on your perspective. If you think that the cycle's not over yet, then I'm actually pretty excited about adding all the way down here at the zone. So I didn't think that the last time when it pulled back, it was going to go all the way down to like, you know, 8 cent either, but it did that. It did end up touching the bottom of Ichimoku cloud. So I was like, okay, thanks. So I ended up buying more. And I think it's probably going to keep on working out here. We'll see. But we are at resistance, so be a little bit careful. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, or should we just jump on more requests? By we,
Yeah,
I mean me.
Well, I want to talk about a few things too. So, and
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
a couple minutes. First of all, if you are looking at the global liquidity, like, you know how I always kind of look at like the monthly M2 money supply. On January, it went sideways. You know why I think that is? Because it was way outside the upper Bollinger Band. I just wanted to go back in anyway. But for February, we finally have the M2 money supply print out here, and it keeps on ticking up, right? China still very strong, right? Japan's interesting. Japan's been dropping, but it keeps on making these staircase kind of liquidity going up and down. And I think we might be at this similar spot where we were here, like we were over here, like we're over here. It's just that's this like weird staircase kind of thing. And I think that there's a possibility where the market might actually just be waiting for the Japanese market to break out, because it's done nothing over the last year. Remember when Bitcoin came back and correct all the way down here, was when the Japanese market is like doing extremely bad. But right now it's holding the 20-month moving average right there just fine. Right now it's holding the conversion over there just fine. I'm still waiting to see whether or not it can break above the arc up here, which again is a big arc, right? So it's going to take time for it to break above. During the entire like 90s, it took like almost 2 decades before breaking out a back test. So I think we're at a pretty important junction here. If it ends up breaking out and global liquidity ends up going a lot higher with the Japanese market participating, then I think things can look pretty good. Anyway, that's all I want to share. But yeah, you guys do your chart request.
All right. Yeah. The first one I see here is for SH or SCHD. Or
Well,
can you see me?
I did that one actually.
Oh, you already did that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I did that one. This is a request from I think they requested it 3 weeks ago on the Try and Bridge show. I remember doing this one.
Oh yeah. Well,
I've got a different opinion on it now.
They requested this here.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that the monthly chart is still pretty bullish, right? It's still above the monthly conversion line. So 2764. I think that's what you got to watch for on a month over month. Like sometimes it closes below it, sometimes it closes above, but the trend has still been higher. It looks like it could be exhausting a little bit, but perhaps we'll see, right? So just watch that. And then we go to the weekly chart, is also going closer to the weekly cloud too. So I think we are nearing a pretty good support zone for SCHD, and it could be continuing to climb the way out of the cloud to continue to new highs once again. So yeah, just watch that $27 level. And I think if that holds, price can continue higher. So you have another chart still too?
Yeah, let me show my SHD weekly chart. In the past, I was thinking that maybe this was like a wave 3 top here, and we were going to get a wave 4 that came back down to 764. But then I kind of looked at it and I realized that maybe this is my 1-2 down. This is the overall from the beginning of time to this high around 1985, and it dropped down to 1294. It's the pandemic. That's my larger degree 1-2. And so now in wave 3, this was a subwave 1, subwave 2, kind of like, 3, 4. Anyway, I think all of 3 is done. All of 4 is done. It was a very short wave 2, extended wave 4, and so I think actually it's in the wave 5 now. I did another a mini 5 waves inside of here. 1 and then 2. That's the larger degree 1-2, and then now this is wave 3 sub 1, wave 3 sub 2 completed. And yeah, you're talking about how it looked like it might be losing some momentum. Maybe this wave 2 is just sort of extending a little bit. But if this holds true, 764 to 382. Normally I look for the 1382, but since this went higher than 764, maybe this will go to the 150% level. So maybe like 32.59, then back to somewhere between 31 and 30. And then the wave 5 top, I'd be looking for this 2236 around 38.93. So this is where I'm imagining that the next 5th wave will stop, and then you'll get an ABC down from there. So 38.93 is where I'm kind of looking for it to peak out here next.
All right. Very nice. All right, I see one for DXYZ, so I'll jump on that. And DXYZ, if you just look at the Ichimoku conversion and baseline, it's really at resistance right now. The 44, the 43.78 zone. So with that said, I am a little bit cautious here until it can definitively close above it and kind of flip things to support here. But in the meantime, what I'm really watching is just this $41 level, 618. I just want to kind of see if that can hold and stabilize on top. And if so, then I think all this resistance above can actually get broken in the future. So DXYZ, it does look better and better. But it is at resistance. Just that's like the trend of the market right now. Basically, everything is at resistance right now. So we should not be greedy at resistance. Just be a little bit cautious here because things can easily retrace before breaking out above. Do you have a DXYZ chart tracker? I know it's your baby, your jam. You're on mute.
Yeah, I do have a DXYZ. Yes, I have a chart I can share with you guys. This is a chart that I drew up for my subscribers.
That's my chart, man. Flip it back over to tracker.
Sorry there, buddy. Your name's a magnet for my mouse. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Mouse just gravitated towards me. But anyway, continue.
All right, I know this chart looks a little messy. Bear with me here. Basically, if we go back to weekly chart and just see how it topped out here at $105, and then it bottomed down here at 825. Or I guess it started at 825, went to 100%, and then kind of retraced down this way, and it came to the 764, and then went down, and then let's see. Oh, and then so now this is actually. Sorry, this is now a 5 waves up that I'm trying to do. But what price did do besides that, I'm looking to the left side here, is it kind of went 236, 382. What am I trying to say? Let's look back at the 8-hour chart. I'm just wondering if it's sort of at resistance here under this 8-hour moving average 100. It got over my moving average 75. The yellow one's the 100. The Ichimoku cloud seems to want to point it back down towards here. I was just saying that the potential reward for going for the 38.2% through the extension was to 51.28, and that was like a 15% from where I sold it. And then the risk is it could go back, 30% down here. So I didn't like the risk reward so much. So I did sell my DXYZ at a loss, but I did DCA down to it in here some. Again, there's a stupid gap here, and I can't ignore it. And I'm just wondering if it's going to come back and close this gap at some point. So from this resistance that we hit here today around 46.61, now it's down to 43.90. If it continues down, I'll be buying it back in as it closes this gap. And then, I don't know, maybe even, you can see that this is a buy block down here. These are other market maker buy order blocks that got down to $33 range. So I'm hoping I can capitalize. Again, just because of the crazy volatility that Tesla had, the whole market had, it wasn't just Tesla. We could see a lot of things where they run up really fast and then drop really fast, but then run up higher, then drop really fast, run up higher. And this is the kind of situation I love to trade these moves, because sometimes if I catch them just right, I do really well. But if not, holding over the long term is great. If you bought down here, it's obviously doing great now. Here at 43 from the correction we just had. All right, that's it for and then DXYZ. So overall, though, 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for maybe 382, 236, 123.6. So the wave 3 would top out at $109, which would be really nice even from where it is right now. It's 147% higher. If it does drop back to this green zone, that's like 205% higher. So anyway, slice it. Being in DXYZ will be great over the long term, I believe.
Very good. We'll do a couple more because it's almost time to go. So I'll do FCX, not FTX, but FCX. And on the monthly chart, one thing I wanted to point out is going back to monthly resistance right now. Right back at the conversion line, 43 at the baseline, but it did successfully touch the cloud. So is it ready to break free? I don't know. Just like the rest of the market, things are basically back at resistance, and this is no exception right here. We can even pull up like a quick little fib from before as well, just to see where price really is. And it also is below that 886 as well. So there we are, right? We have resistance, but we also have support. So I think it could probably just stay in this range for some time before really going higher. And I'll do OSS and one stop. This one is a monthly chart. It's kind of telling a picture that it's not ready to break out just yet. It is below the base and the conversion line underneath the monthly cloud too. And go to the weekly chart. Does it have any kind of momentum? Yeah, I mean, it's holding the weekly cloud here. So this has potential. We can put on some moving averages too, just to show you that it's also stabilizing on top of the 50-week moving average. So yeah, it has potential to hold support, but I think it is just going to be stuck in a range for some time. Maybe between the 330 zone up here, maybe 336, and that'll be your resistance zone, all the way down to like the 260s, 270s. So just patience for this one, but it looks like it has potential to recover and get closer and closer, at least to the top of the cloud. And the last one I'll do is Affirm, AFRM. And Affirm, what I like about Affirm is it reclaimed my blue GAN level here, which was a previous resistance, and it's trying to hold back as a support now. So it did break out, got a bunch of liquidity below to touch the 200-week moving average and the bottom arc, and now it's really reclaimed that. So I do like it there, and I think it has potential to hold. So that's around $51, $50.90. Could it come back down and retest the 50-week? Sure, right? $46, why not? But I think it can just spend some time in this zone between like the $50 and like the 55, 56. Maybe try to get closer to the cloud and then maybe try to go higher. But yeah, after a big rejection up here and a nice little back test, or a big back test, whatever you want to call it, but it really has potential now to consolidate in this zone before going higher. So I do like it here. So with that said, I think we'll just end the show. Any last words, guys?
No, I do want to say thank you guys for all the lovely comments. We've been reading every single one of them. Yeah, you guys are great. We really enjoy doing the show for you. The time we spend is great. We would do it anyway, even if we didn't have an audience. It's fun for Matt and Kat and I to get together. But we also love doing it for you guys. Yeah.
Are we gonna go live tomorrow, Tracker, or you want to take the morning off after tonight?
No, I'm good for tomorrow.
All right.
We got to see what
Tracker and
happens.
yeah, Tracker and I will see you in the morning. And did Kat run away already?
No, I'm here. I just want to, yeah, it's been a rough time because there are some things behind the scenes here that I'm trying to get over. I probably will still keep my X account, probably just do it at a reduced capacity. Just because all of you are been extremely supportive, and again, I read all the comments. It doesn't mean that like I'm great or whatever. Like there's still like a few things that I need to reflect on myself, and I might need to be less culty about things. I'm also worried about the one thing too. If the bull market really is to come, I need to reflect on myself too, and not be like all gross and disgusting and become a version that I like extremely dislike. So it's important to do the reflection, take care of friends, figure out who my friends are, and be good to them. And don't worry about the noise. And I probably just still be on a reduced capacity on X. But I thank you all for all the support. So that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much, Kat.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah.
We are always here for you, and so is your audience.
Yeah. No. Thank you all for the support. It's not. Yeah. I read all of them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I should come back yet. So, all right, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Yep.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yep. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you tomorrow, Matt.